So we're going to look at the different types of amphibian, their features and their habitats. So Mike.
Right, well we have two anurans here,
Okay.
frogs and toads. And the first one is a little poison dart frog. Now, before you handle any amphibian, you should always wet your hands first, because as I said before, they're cold-blooded, we're warm-blooded, and when you pick them up, it's a bit of a shock for them. So this is a poison dart frog. Now, its name's a bit of a giveaway. It's black and yellow, first of all, to warn you, don't try and eat me, because I taste terrible. And it's actually called a bumblebee poison dart frog. And the reason they're called poison dart frogs is they produce a toxin, a poison in their skin, which is designed to taste horrible so you don't eat it. But if it gets into your blood system, it will kill you. I'm safe here because this animal was bred in captivity and they lose their toxic nature after several months in captivity, or if they were born in captivity. It seems that their diet in the wild, which includes ants, the chemicals in the ant help produce the toxin in the skin. So this is a bumblebee poison dart frog from Colombia, Venezuela, the northern part of South America.
So it's from the Amazon rainforest?
The northern part of it.
The northern part.
They like it nice and warm and tropical, and they're active during the day, and they are brightly coloured. Most frogs and toads are active at night, but these little poison dart frogs are so bold because they're poisonous, they hop around during the day. It's got obviously a little snout with the nostrils. It's got two eyes either side of the head, but its eyes are black and its body at that point is black, so it's very hard to see the eyes, but you can see them bulging upwards. It's got short legs at the front and longer legs at the back because it hops. Frogs tend to leap, toads don't. And at the end of each toe, you can see the slightly spread out, like a fan at the end of the toe. These are little suckers that help it climb up plants like bromeliads and even small trees, because it can live off the ground as well as on the forest floor. Frogs and toads, the anurans, they tend to have a short body. The trunk of the body is quite short. In this case, if you looked at it in cross-section, it would be rounded. If you look at the Surinam toad in cross-section, it would be very flat, because the habitat it lives in at the bottom of the river. But most frogs and toads have a rounded cross-section shaped trunk between the front legs and the hind legs. Oh, you can see on its chin as well. If you look at its chin, you can see its chin doing this. That's acting like a pair of bellows. So it's pumping air in through its nose and into its lungs.
And is that its throat
That's
then?
its throat, yes.
What is the difference between a frog and a toad?
We tend to call animals with smooth, slippery skins, great big hind legs for leaping, and a sort of pointed snout, frogs. Toads, we tend to call the animals which have got a dry, watery skin, a rounded snout, and shorter back legs for hopping or crawling with. But zoologically, there's very little proper difference between a frog and a toad.
And that's why we classify them together in that one group, frogs and toads.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
This animal is called a Surinam toad. Its scientific name is Pippa Pippa.
Pippa Pippa.
Pippa Pippa, it's great. These live in the rivers of the Amazon, all over North and South America. They're entirely aquatic. But having said that, they do breathe air. They don't have gills. They've got a little snout with nostrils, and they come to the air occasionally to take in some air and then go back down to the bottom again. So they have got lungs. I'll just wet my hand. They look like they've been run over. They're very flat. And what they're doing is that they're mimicking the dead leaves on the bottom of the river. They live in very slow-moving, murky, muddy rivers, and it's very, very hard to see them. They sit at the bottom, motionless, for ages and ages at a time, and they sit there with their little hands, like this, pointing forwards, and at the end of each hand, a little toe has got a little star-shaped organ at the end, which is very sensitive. So it sits there in the dark, muddy water, waiting for anything to come swimming by, like a shrimp or a fish. And then when it touches it, it goes, and it stuffs whatever's there into its mouth. You can see it's got a very pointy nose. So when it comes to the surface, only the tip of its nose need to break the surface, so you don't see the rest of it. Short front legs, just for feeding with, and these enormous, great big back flippers. Very powerful for swimming. They can swim really, really fast. And they're very hard to catch with your hands. They're very difficult. The most vulnerable part of a frog life cycle are the eggs and the tadpoles. So if you can protect your tadpoles in some way, and frogs and toads exhibit the most amazing parental care, and some of them have their eggs in their throat, some swallow them into the stomach, some have little pockets on the side, some have them on the back. There's every single thing you can think of, they protect those eggs. Normally, a toad this side would lay 2,000 eggs a year, but because she's going to protect them so well until the little frogs, 60 or 80 is all she needs to produce, but they're really well looked after.
Find inspiring lessons, ideas and planning at developingexperts.com.